If you have invested in the last 12 months, you probably missed asking a question. Or maybe you have asked the right question, but the operator rushed through the questions and now you have less control than you think. Look, anytime you're investing, it's not only about the returns. It's about the control, it's about the governance, and it's about many other things you need to be aware of. And I will show you the exact framework by the end of the video that I use before I invest a single dollar into any projects. Question number one, where does the return actually come from? Does it come from appreciation? Does it come from assumptions? Does it come from trend? Because those are not proper strategy. Those are hope, and we cannot count on hope. So the strategy has to be asset sale, cash flow, operations. And if it's something that you have to develop for a long time and then rent it out, I would like to see, do you already have a contract in place with a potential anchor tenant? Are you discussing with an anchor tenant now? So those things have to be in place. The number one keyword here is intrinsic value, not only future assumptions. So know this before you go into any deal. Question number two, what breaks this deal? You have to ask the operator, have you done stress testing? What if the timeline, the construction timeline, instead of taking, let's say 2 years, it takes 2.5 years, it takes 3 years? What happens to the project? If the construction pricing goes up, the labor, the material, what happens then? If the potential sale price at the end goes down by 15-20%, what happens then? And if the operator cannot walk you through these things, that means you are the stress test and they have not actually stress tested what they should have done before. Question number three, is leverage optional or it's required? What do I mean by that? Because a lot of the times, even if they're not using a debt, they'll show a spreadsheet showing how the deal looks beautiful when you actually leverage it, which is fine. That's a one way of showing the financials, the pro forma. But anytime you're investing in a deal, you have to make sure the leverage is optional, even though we don't take debts, but that's optional in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet cannot work only based off of debt. So a lot of the real estate deals that I'm seeing right now, the only way number makes sense if you don't put the full amount cash up front, and if you're leveraging either the off-plan sales in real estate development here, or you're leveraging a loan from the bank. So you have to make sure that loans are not the only way this deal works. That's optional. Question number four, would this deal make sense in a boring year? When there is no hypes, when there is no booms, and when there is no upward market cycle, a flat, uneventful year, would this deal still make sense? That's a very important question. Ask the operator and see what they answer. Now, here is where most people stop. They ask a lot of questions about the deal, but not any questions about the operator. So what would you have to ask about the operator himself? So the number 5 question, and the question that I would ask the operator, who else is investing with you? Who else is partnering up with you? And this is not only for social proof. This is not for the operator to show, look, this social media influencer is partnering up with me. This brand ambassador is partnering up with me. No, this is good, but this is not enough. You need to see, are there long-term partners? Are there repeat investors? Have those investors seen the operator under stress? And they have to testify how this operator reacts under stress, right? Because smart capital always leaves clues, not the reckless capital. So you have to make sure there have been long-term partners with this operator that have been investing repeatedly over and over, and you have to be in touch with them and ask them tough questions about the operator. Question number 6, what's the succession plan? If something happens to you, the operator, tomorrow, who steps in? What happens to the deal? What happens to the project? Who continues it? Who are the people I need to be in touch with? What happens to me, the investor, if I'm no longer here tomorrow? How does your company allocate my capital to my ears? So all these questions you need to ask, but most importantly, the succession plan of the operator. And you have to make sure that answer is bulletproof, point by point. This is the exact succession plan. This is who's going to take charge. This is what's going to happen, as if the operator is still there or never existed. The project has to continue that way. Last question, and the most important one. You have to ask the operator, how does this fit into your 20-year vision? And just pause and see how the operator answers that question. And you will figure out if this is a one-off transactional deal for the operator or they're in here for the long run. That will reveal character, because I wouldn't want to wire high 6 figures or 7 figures into someone's bank account who's here just for one transaction. And they'll never say, oh, I'm just here for this one transaction. They'll never say that. But asking the question, how does this project fit into your 20-year vision? you'll find out, actually, do they even have a decades-long plan? If I'm wiring my hard-earned money that Allah has blessed me with and my family has rights over to someone who does not know what they're doing in a couple of decades with their long-term plan and the project and the vision, that I'll be hesitant to investing large sum of money with that operator. Just to summarize, so the question number one you need to ask, where does the return actually come from? And make sure there's intrinsic value in the deal. Question number two, what breaks the deal? Have they stress tested the deal or you are the stress test? Question number three, is leverage optional or leverage is the only way this deal makes sense? That's a big no. Question number four, would this deal still make sense in a boring, uneventful year? Now, question five, directly to the operator, who else is investing with you? I want to see your long-term partners. Question number six, what happens if you pass away tomorrow? What's the succession plan? Who steps up? Do you have other leaders in the company? Lastly, how does this project fit into your 20-year vision? And that reveals a whole lot of things. You have to pause after the question and give enough time to the operator to process, think, and then answer and judge them based on that answer. Okay, in closing, what I'm going to say is the goal is not to move fast. You see a deal, you have the fear of missing out. That's not the goal, okay? You take it slow, you ask the right questions. But once the right questions are answered, and you're satisfied, you do istikhara, you do istishara, then you move fast. Then you pull the trigger, because then that's a very good deal that you actually don't want to miss out. But before doing the due diligence, you don't want to just move fast based on, oh, it sounds too good. Oh, this person is investing, that person is investing. I see it on social media. Click, 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 invest, invest, invest. No, that's not how real world works. Anytime you see an opportunity, you have to review the opportunity carefully and then ask the right due diligence questions. And once you're satisfied, inshallah, bismillah, you move forward. If you want to see a deep dive into due diligence, like a masterclass, because our due diligence is very extensive when we're working with a vendor, a service provider, a contractor, an engineer, then comment due diligence below and we'll make a deeper video for you guys. Until then, assalamu alaikum.